Hi, this is Chris with another 2-minute EdTech tip. Today I'm going to show you how to make a Google form and use it as a formative or informative assessment in your class. So the first thing you're going to do is in your Drive, go to this New button and create a form. You're going to give your form a title. Let's call it Quiz 1. And if you notice, it'll automatically title it up here as well for you. You can always rename it later. Now, a quick tip I'm going to give you is to set up your forms in such a way that you can reuse them again. I always start off my forms with having the students enter their last name, then their first name, and then I choose as a multiple choice the class period they are in, period 1 or period 2. Now the reason why, I should have told you, you should make these required questions so they have to fill them out before submitting. All you have to do to make them required is click this little required button down the bottom. The reason why I choose these as my starting fields is that when you get your responses, click this view response button, this will allow me to sort by either last name or first name or class period. So if I go and right click up in this box over here and go sort range, I can click this data as a header and I can sort by, say, class period, and then I can add another sorting method by last name. And so when I click sort, their information will be sorted by last name and by class period. So it's a pretty helpful tip to keep things organized. So that's how I always start it. And then I can just reuse that. I can just edit the quiz, make a copy of it, and keep those same fields at the very beginning. So now let's get to our actual assessment question. So we have multiple options. We have text, like I used for my last name and first name. We have paragraph text, allows them to write maybe like a short answer, a little bit longer of a text answer. Multiple choice, which probably will be used quite often. And there's a really cool add-on you can use that will grade multiple choice questions called Flubberoo. That's for a different video. Checkboxes, don't really use that too much in formative assessments, but I could see how they could be used. Check all that apply maybe. Choose from a list. A lot like multiple choice, but it's more of a drop-down type of question. And I like using scales as a scale from 1 to 5. How do you think you did on this quiz or something like that? So those are all different options. So let's click multiple choice. Question 1 would be a question title. Let's say, what class is this? I can do biology, chemistry, physics, and make it required. Click done. And I could copy that if I wanted to, make a duplicate, and say, change those answers, or if I want. Another cool option, let me click delete here, is if you go down to advanced settings, you can shuffle the order of these. If you're worried about students cheating and looking over at their partner's Chromebook or iPad, whatever they're taking this quiz on, if you shuffle the order, when they see it under the view form, it won't be in the order you put it. It'll be in a shuffled order. So it just kind of randomizes things, makes things a little bit safer for taking that quiz. So you can add as many questions as you want. You can say, what time is it? If I can type. And I can make this a text. Make it required, type it in the time. Another cool function is I always like to add, actually I should have added this up there, I'll show you how to move a question in a second, is email address. This will be helpful if you end up using Flubberoo. You can email their responses back. If you go to advanced settings and you go to this data validation and you choose text contains email address, they will have to enter, like my email is chris.wolf@d128. Or it'll have to look like an email address, or else it won't accept the answer. So it's a really cool function. Again, all I went to advanced settings, data validation, text, email address. You could do numbers if you have to have a number in there. It has to be greater than, equal to, less than, all different options for numbers. Text, like I said, I use email address a lot. Or if you want them to enter a website, it must look like a URL. Or I've never really used this regular expression, so I'm not too sure what that one does, but this email address one's really helpful. Now, let's say I want this to be a different location, the quiz. I forgot to add it. All I have to do is click and hold and drag and put it where I would like it, right after let's say their last name and their first name. So now it shows up as the third question. So there's my simple quiz. Other options you have, you can change the themes. You can customize themes, and I have some custom headers that you could use if you want to watch a different video on that. You can do a beach theme or all different kinds of things, and you can customize it by changing the font. You can change the text color and so forth, all different types of customizations. You can play around with that as much as you want. And then you're going to click View Live Form, and that's what your quiz is going to look like. Now, a word of caution. This is the URL right here that you want to send to your kids. You do not want to send them this URL, the one that you are editing from. This URL, which is different, would allow them to edit your quiz, or might not take them anywhere because they don't have editing rights. You want this View Live Form, and you want to grab this URL. Now, I recommend using a URL shortener. I use one called Shorten Me, which gives me a nice quick shorten URL. This one right here, it's automatically copied to my keyboard. You can write that on the board. You can post it to a website. You can tweet it out. However you want to get it out there to them, that's the link you want to send them, is the one from the View Live Form. Now, to get your results, all you have to do is view responses. You'll see your questions are all up here for you to look at. If you notice, this is where I have my Flubberoo add-on. It will grade it, but again, it's for another video. The other place you will find this response form is back in your folder where you made the form. If I search for quiz 1, there is my quiz 1. That's the form I'm actually making. There it is. And there is my responses, and they're both stored in my drive. So pretty easy, pretty quick. Hope it helped.